Now, I didn't think I was going to have to use this during this breakdown of Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime performance, but the internet never ceases to amaze me with their ignorance and ridiculousness. So, trigger warning, okay? If you are any of these people, let's take a look here. This guy on Twitter X, Drake watching Kendrick put on the worst Super Bowl halftime shows in history. Hundreds of dancers and the participants in this halftime show, and they can't manage to feature one single white person. This is pathetic. And then another dumb possible Negro here. Please, the next time a black person tries to whine about how oppressed they are, whatever, you're an idiot. I'm not reading all that. But this post right here sums it up pretty much, because you have two people, one person saying it's a DEI halftime show. That means black people. For those of you who don't follow politics, DEI, they somehow associate that with us, even though it doesn't benefit us that much. I try not to be political on this show, but they forced me this time. And then reminder, the NFL hasn't had a white performer since 2019. And the Twitter X user that quote tweeted both of those said it best. Buddy, the NFL is 70% black. If you want a whites only halftime show, I hear NASCAR is hiring. So the great performance by Kendrick Lamar really helped define what not like us really means. And the reactions brought out what not like us really means. Because if this is what you took from the halftime show, you're not a fan of Kendrick Lamar, for one, because you wouldn't understand his messaging or his music. And please understand when I say this, all are welcome to this channel, because we don't play the Crayola box race games over here. But you damn sure are not going to like this review. So what I need you to do is hit the like button first. Okay, since you clicked on my video, the thumbnail should have made you click somewhere else, but you were curious, so you clicked on this video anyway. So hit that like button for me and exit stage right, because this is not for any kind of nonsensical people who do not understand the culture of America, and especially Black Americans. Let's get into it. All right, let's get this thing started. All right, I'm gonna be jumping around the performance because certain things throughout the performance relate to each other. A lot of shots, a lot of messaging. Okay, of course, Uncle Sam being the main one, Sam Jackson. We're gonna start right there. Okay, now we know Sam Jackson is part of a lot of movies that are politically charged and socially, racially charged, things like that. So Sam Jackson was the perfect pick. Okay, his character as Steven in Django was definitely an Uncle Sam or an Uncle Tom type character. And then when he paused, when he said his name, he said, "It's your uncle." And then he said, "Sam," right? Could have easily been Uncle Tom. A little suspense, a lot of suspense throughout the performance. Kendrick and them hinting at a lot of things. Also, the Drake shots are there. They are plentiful. We'll get to that in a second. But really the performance, as Kendrick Lamar said during his Apple interview, was a story. And I think it was the story of Kendrick Lamar as a rapper in his rap career, right? If you listen to Pimp a Butterfly and you listen to the first track, Wesley's Theory, you could look at that song and that album encompassing the messaging in this performance, especially with Samuel L. Jackson playing Uncle Sam. If you listen to Wesley's Theory, that same kind of dynamic applies. You know, there's a lot of accusations that Kendrick is now going to be the new puppet of the industry, so to speak, from salty Drake fans, because Drake, the actual puppet of the industry, got his head whooped in a rap battle. Again, I just don't understand how you guys can't let that go. But anyway, when he starts with the revolution will be televised, you picked the right time but the wrong guy. Okay, now the triple entendres, the multiple entendres, the multiple meanings throughout this performance is a thing. Okay, and this is what makes Kendrick a great artist, is that depending on your experience, you're gonna take different things from what he presents. Now, like I showed in the intro, it got a lot of people in their feelings. The whole performance did, right? But they know what he meant by that to them, right? That Donald Trump, who was in attendance, by the way, that worked out perfectly for them, might have been the wrong guy that you voted for. Now, again, your politics is your politics. I don't really give a damn. Both parties get on my nerves for different reasons at different times. But what I took from the statement is that if you wanted a run-of-the-mill cookie-cutter performance that was non-controversial, you picked the wrong performer in Kendrick Lamar. right? You know, corporations and industrialists and capitalists and people like that tend to want a safe and cookie cutter, pseudo unifying type message that doesn't really speak to the truth and actuality of things that are going on in the world. And that also goes into the hidden symbolism of things that not only occurred in this performance, that just occur every day in entertainment that you see, that you don't realize that you're seeing and that you're looking at. So let's get into some of those things. Okay, now of course the game theme with the PlayStation controller being the stage, so to speak. You have the D-pad, which is the cross, the big cross, so to speak. Then you have the buttons on the outside of that cross, which is 9 squares. Now, of course, this is a representation of not only the game of hip hop and the game of the industry, but the game of life in general. But the sneak diss is there because Party Next Door and Drake's album that's coming soon, or on Valentine's Day, I believe, is going to be released through Sony Music, as you see on the screen here. Now, this is where the foresight of Kendrick Lamar comes into play so much, because we all know that there's a deluxe to GNX. Now, why do you make the album a deluxe? Because your opponent wants to drop more music in another album that he announced way early. So you wait to drop the deluxe when he drops his album to step on it the same way Meet the Grams and Not Like Us stepped all over the release of Family Matters during the battle. So to me, that's the real reason that he used the PlayStation Sony reference more than he could have used any game, so to speak, right? So now we get into the symbols of the PlayStation controller: the X, the circle, the square, and the triangle. Now this is gonna get a little deep for you all. I'm sorry if you don't understand esoteric things or you think it's the devil. I'm sorry, but this is gonna explain some of the color schemes and why they perform certain parts on certain stages, okay? Each button, each symbol was a stage. Okay, so let me just read this right quick here. When combined, a triangle, circle, cross, and a square often represents fundamental concepts like heaven, earth, and humanity, with the circle symbolizing the heavens, wholeness, the square representing the earth, stability, the triangle representing humanity, ambition or ascension, while the cross can signify a connection or relationship between these elements depending on the context. Now break down the individual symbols. Circle represents unity, wholeness, infinity, and the cyclical nature of life. The square symbolizes stability, groundedness, structure, and the material world. The triangle represents ambition, progress, power, the divine masculine, and the element of fire. We're gonna get into that in a minute. The cross, often associated with spirituality, sacrifice, and the intersection of different forces. Now, during my Peekaboo video, the lyrics explained video for Peekaboo, the song, I'm taking the L in the comments because people are coming back to the video because I tried to downplay Kendrick referencing XXXtentacion's unaliving at the hands of robbers who were rumored to be. Drake has something to do with that situation. Now that's not coming from me, that's coming from the defense for the perpetrators of that crime and that homicide. Okay, he invoked Drake's name in the case in their appeal of that conviction. So not only did Kendrick perform Peekaboo inside the X button, right? Which of course, XXXtentacion. And the X is blood red on the outside. It's 4 walls forming the X that are red. And the performers, the dancers, are wearing all white. Now, of course, going back to that definition I read earlier, the cross can represent sacrifice. Also, the color white, depending on your religion, can also be related to sacrifice. As you see on the screen here, the color white is widely associated with sacrifice, symbolizing purity, innocence, and virtue as well. And we'll get into that with the 4 females or the 4 dancers that are advising Kendrick during the parts where he's contemplating whether he's going to play Not Like Us, as many people thought that he shouldn't, and Uncle Sam throughout the performance representing the powers that be, begging him not to, which again goes back to him saying, you got the right time, but the wrong guy. The revolution will be televised. All right, let's continue. Now, the way he came up through the camera when he said peekaboo, there's no hidden meaning. That was just dope. I just had to mention that right quick. But anyway, let's get to the ladies, since I mentioned the 4 dancers that are advising Kendrick. Okay, first we're gonna get to this shot of the scissor performance. All of these shots and these camera angles were purposefully done, all right? Now, if you see, the triangle is being shown upside down inside a box. Now, those of us that understand slang, we know what box represents, right? We know what that means. It's a little crass, but it means what it means, right? But an upside down triangle also represents feminine energy, all right? On the screen here, generally represents the feminine gender, often associated with feminine energy, nurturing, and the concept of Mother Earth. It symbolizes the downward flow of energy and the receptivity, contrasting with an upright triangle, which is typically seen as masculine, all right? So now when we get to the women who either were referenced or participated in the pop out, shout out to Serena Williams and her crip walking. We know Serena Williams is the ex of Drake. We know SZA says she dated Drake for a hot second. And if you pay attention to SZA's outfit and you look at these two images here, the reference to Rihanna when she performed at the Super Bowl, who is somebody also who Drake chased a lot. She says they never dated at all. So there's a lot of shots at Drake's exes, but there's one that everybody missed. I think people caught mostly those, but this image here is of the PG Lang's first promo commercial, so to speak, right? When they're announcing PG Lang, when Kendrick is laying on top of the street lamp, right? Now, how did he get up there? All those kind of things. Now, on the street, the runway where they were performing a lot of the songs, you see the street lights and there, Serena was performing under one of the street lights, but you see that people are sitting on top of the street lights, and that in this image here, there's somebody laying just like Kendrick was in that commercial. Where at the bottom of that street lamp is this young lady here, Jorja Smith, who is a UK singer who Drake has written plenty of songs about and was madly in love with. She was a bit underage or younger, let me say it that way. So this is not only a ode to or a shout out to the original promo for PG Lang, that original marketing video, but it's also a shout out to Jorja Smith, who Drake likes and was turned down by, who appeared in that promo. You can go to Kendrick Lamar's channel and the PG Lang channel and check that video out. She has a little talking part where she's talking about Kendrick being on top of the light pole. I'm sure when Drake saw that promo, he understood the shot, and he was probably throwing things at his computer screen or television or wherever he watched the promo for the PG Lang thing, with Jorja Smith appearing in that marketing campaign. And that's why I used this image in the lead up for the post that I made yesterday to preview this video of Arthur Smith, who was the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta is in Georgia. Jorja Smith, get it? That's why I used that image. So for the person who asked that, there's your answer right there. So now let's get to the whole foundational Black Americanness of this performance, right? Now, first, of course, when Kendrick performed Humble, the dancers were in the shape of the American flag. Very dope concept right there. But just him using the red, white, and blue in general. Now, where do the colors red, white, and blue come from? This is going to be a little controversial for some people who don't want to understand ancient history. But that concept of red, white, and blue comes from ancient Egypt/Kemet. Okay, the red, white, and blue, quote unquote, historically represents the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt coming together, which is why the founders of this country used those colors to represent the United States of Europe. So when you look at those colors and you look at the American flag and our people who were brought over here being the descendants of Northern Africans, and we're talking about ancient Northern Africans, those colors represent us more than we understand. Also, they are the colors of the NFL logo, right? So it's a very American thing. So him having Samuel L. Jackson play Uncle Sam, all of those things tie in to us being able to claim America and our heritage, because really the idea of what they were trying to create when they created the United States comes from our ancient ancestors. And if you don't like it, I don't give a damn. You don't know as much as I do, maybe. So that's why, going back to some of those comments from X that I put in the intro, people have a problem with us representing those colors in that way. Okay, yes, we have our own African-American flag too, and that's cool and everything. But when you get right down to it, these are our colors too. Somebody just happened to borrow them without permission. Let's put it that way. But let me get to some of the easier ones. Okay, of course, Kendrick was wearing the PG Lang chain, and he shows the A, which is a small A. That's not really an A minor symbol technically. Okay, it's a capital A for A minor symbol, but with a small M next to it. But I still think he wore that PG Lang chain on purpose with the small A on it, of course. The GNX jacket that had a bunch of the songs on it and had Gloria across the front was an ode to that, of course, ode to the album. The dancers forming the S before SZA came out. Okay, that also could be a representation of serpentine energy. I don't want to get into that. I've already gotten deep enough into controversial things on this review already. So just look that up if you want to understand that and get more into that and what that could possibly mean. I'm not saying any of these things is what Kendrick was saying. This is my interpretation, as always, right? In the long shots, when they were performing on the street, you'll notice that there's 50 dancers on each side of Kendrick, representing the red, white, and blue. They're broken up into groups of 15, 15, and 20 by color. Of course, that represents the 50 states. Also, the stage in general being a controller, meaning Kendrick has control of the game. That's also something that people kind of didn't put together with him using the controller, the Sony PlayStation controller, as the stage. He's controlling the game. And the story he's telling throughout the performance with the songs that he's using is how he controlled the game, right? Because if you look at his responses to Uncle Sam's performances, right? I forgot this part. Let me get into this. Okay, he starts with the intro snippet, right, to GNX that is unreleased. Then he does Squabble Up. Uncle Sam comes in and interrupts him and says, no, that's too loud, too ghetto, switch it up. So then he goes into the radio-friendly song Humble, right, on Damn, right, which was a sneak diss in a way to not only Drake, but a lot of people in the industry who had Kendrick's name in their mouth. But then he plays DNA to remember who he was. Then he goes into Euphoria to get back into the shits, so to speak, right? Then he performs Man at the Garden under the street light. Then Uncle Sam comes and interrupts him again, talks about the cultural cheat code, makes the XXXtentacion reference to say deduct one life. Not just XXXtentacion, but just us in general. When we express ourselves as ourselves, sometimes our lives can be lost, whether that be in the court system or by the hands of certain brutality. You know what I'm talking about. I can't say it on YouTube, but let's continue. So he performs Peekaboo in the cross. And again, I talked about the cross represents sacrifice and all of that. That's when Sam Jackson, or he hints at Not Like Us. And then Uncle Sam comes back and tells him he lost his mind, slows it down. That's when he brings out SZA and the ladies, again, to appease the powers that be. Also, the ladies serving as a way for us to calm down our masculine energy if it gets too dangerous, right? So to speak, right? The females adding that balance to the aggression, right? So he breaks up those aggressive records, so to speak, right? He couldn't do it on his own. If you look at, he performed Humble, then he got right back into, right, being aggressive. But then SZA comes and gives a long break with the two records, All the Stars and Luther. And they transition from going to the feminine upside down triangle, like I explained before, to also the feminine circle, which represents the womb, to perform All the Stars, again, representing that balance. Uncle Sam is pleased by that, right? But then Kendrick comes back up with the council of the four females and decides that he's gonna play Not Like Us and stay on Real Nigga Time with the ladies backing him up. And when they're asking him, you really gonna do it? Then they say, if you really gonna do it, then get on it like that, right? So he has that support, and then they start walking and dancing, and that's the story. And of course, he ends it with performing TV Off, bringing out DJ Mustard. And also at the end of the performance, he holds or has his hand like he has a control, and he turns the TV off. Not only a shot at Drake, but also a shot at all of those people I showed you in the beginning of the intro. That's why I introed the video that way, that were very unhappy with what they saw. As far as that performance, it was a little too African, American, Black, FBA for them. It was a little too much of that for a lot of those people. A lot of those people understand the symbolism that I'm talking about, and that what the message that Kendrick had in there. Just having a black Uncle Sam off the top, I'm sure made a lot of people upset. But like I mentioned before, all these colors and symbols and symbolisms, many of us know who they really come from, all right? So there we have it, the breakdown of Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl performance, Super Bowl 2025. One of the better performances I've ever seen because he used the whole field. Very difficult to do, but it's a stadium show for what will be a stadium tour that is now going to be not only in the United States, but in Europe as well. Shout out to Kendrick Lamar and SZA. Fantastic performance. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. If there's anything I missed. Now, again, a lot of the obvious stuff I don't mention because I don't want these videos to be an hour. I don't love to hear myself talk, contrary to what many other YouTubers, or how many other YouTubers tend to be. I just don't want to make hour-long videos. But let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, hit that like button if you have not by now. I don't know why you haven't by now. You should have hit the like button by now. Hit that subscribe button for me if you're not subscribed. Hit the notification bell. Share this video. Tell a friend, tell a friend. See, I can't even pronounce words now. I've been talking so long. But thank y'all for watching as always. Trying to stay regular. Life is lifing though, so I'm not keeping up with my schedule, but we'll get back on track as things are shaping up. Thank y'all for watching as always though, and we out.